Christmas seems to sneak up on us every single year, and I don't know about you, but I'm not mad about it. I would consider myself a bit of a Christmas fanatic, so I put together these 4 videos of me decorating my entire home as well as my mom's house into one long marathon video for you to get tons of ideas, tips, and inspiration. I show you my little trick of how I decorate our 12-foot Christmas tree without hardly ever having to get on a ladder. My easy step-by-step process on how to decorate a Christmas tree and make it look like a professional. My special Christmas lights that will make your Christmas trees pop and look absolutely gorgeous. A little bit of Christmas tree ribbon tutorial. How I decorate my front room as well as my entryway, our Grinch bathroom, and our outdoor front porch. And I'm not gonna lie, it's definitely a lot of work, but in the end, it is so worth it. I'm not a professional decorator, but I do like creating things and breaking a few things occasionally. My name is Michelle, and I'm a mom of 3 small kids, and nothing lights me up more than creating beautiful spaces. I would say I spend the majority of my time cleaning up spaces, but decorating brings me joy. I get it that Christmas decorating can get super overwhelming, but my goal for you in this video is to help you get through it step by step. So whether you are decorating along with me right now while you're watching the video or watching in advance so that you can get some cool ideas, I'm glad to have you either way. These are some of my best videos from last year, so it's definitely going to be hard to top it this year. But let's go ahead and get started. You know that saying, if it ain't broke, then don't fix it? Well, last year, I feel like I finally perfected my Christmas tree. And this year, I am totally changing it up. Why? Because who doesn't love a good challenge? So y'all are going to see the end result pretty much the same time I see it. So hopefully I don't mess this up. In today's video, I'm decorating our entire living room, a console table, the mantle, and the massive Christmas tree. I'm going to walk you through my thought process, give you the best tips to decorate a Christmas tree. I do have a video out there with step-by-step process, which I stick by that. I use it every single year, so I'll be doing those same steps this year as well. I'll share with y'all my favorite lights, where and when I got everything, and just anything along the way. This is part 2 of my Christmas decorating series. It takes me 3 days to complete this room, and I love and hate every minute of it, but you guys know what I mean. If this is your first time finding me, then welcome. My name is Michelle. Obviously, I love Christmas, and I love decorating for Christmas, getting creative, sometimes trying new things. Yes, it's stressful, but we get through it, and it turns out so beautiful in the end. I'm not a professional decorator. I've never worked in the decorating profession. I just look at Pinterest and try to recreate it. Over the years, I feel like I get a little bit better, a little more creative, and then I share all of the tips with y'all. I'm a mom of 3, and I also do lots of cleaning, organizing, and decluttering on my channel. I would obviously love for you to subscribe because we have so much fun throughout the year. And we have an amazing community here. But the first thing is when you decorate for Christmas, where do you start? Do you start with your tree, your main tree? Do you start with a smaller table? Leave me a comment below. Let me know where you start. For some reason, I always start with these 2 pencil trees I got from Michael's 2 years ago. They're in my upstairs attic, so they're really easy to get to, and they are easy to unflock and put together. And for me, I just need to start with something easy to like get that momentum going. My big tree is my favorite thing in my house, but it's a lot, especially since I'm starting almost from scratch this year. Then I just know it's going to be a lot of work. So I need to like get into the decorating vibe before I pull that out. But let's go ahead and get started. I may be jumping back and forth a little bit from one area to the next, and I probably will be pretty chatty in this video. Well, I'm chatty in all my videos, but let's get started. So most important thing, regardless of what kind of tree you're putting up, is to fluff it out. I don't care what kind of tree it is. It's been sitting in a box for a year. You need to do some work on the branches and get those fluffed out the way that you want. And remember, you have a tree stand. So take advantage of the tree stand because the taller the tree, the harder it is to get to the top and fluff it out. So you could always start with the top section, put that on the bottom of the tree stand, fluff that out, put it aside, and then finish fluffing the rest of your tree out. These are only 7-foot trees, so I was able to fluff them out without a ladder. The famous horse picture, oh my gosh, I've never taken this off the wall. I always say I'm going to replace it, and I never do. But this year I did buy this Christmas tree from Hobby Lobby. And in my last video, I used this sticky putty, and it's supposed to work like command hooks and stick, pictures. And I used it for small pictures in the bathroom, and I bought it for my mom's house. So I was like, oh, instead of like drilling new holes in the wall, I'll just stick this sticky putty on this painting. I put a lot of it on all the way on the edges. Totally didn't work. So of course, that's the way I hang pictures. The way Chris hangs pictures is the right way. Okay, whatever, measure it, do all these things, hang it, and it'll stay. I know, I was just trying to take the easy way out. So later on, it's time to get the 12-foot tree out. And in order for the tree to fit in our living room, we have to rearrange, move some furniture out, move the couch way back, and then the only space to put it is in this corner next to the fireplace. So we do have a slim tree because we cannot get the full, tree because it won't fit. We have 18 feet ceilings, but just in like our entryway area and in this living room area. So the space to put it is limited, but it's always worked out right in this area. This is my opportunity to clean up a little bit when we move the couches and move the furniture, so I'm going to take advantage of that.
It's cold outside, but the fire keeps us warm. We can spend the night underneath the mistletoe, and I've gotten you a present that I put under the tree. Tomorrow it is Christmas, the first for you and me.
Well, nice. It's always fun to see what treasures you can find underneath the couch, including the remote control to our soundbar that we have been looking for who knows how long. But I'm not doing a massive deep clean here because if I spent all my time getting this space deep cleaned and spotless, then I would never get the tree up. So I'm going to do a kind of a quick clean and then start working on the tree.
Longed for this moment to have you for myself in a cabin out in nowhere, just us and no one else. I've decorated everything till we're perfect for this week. Tomorrow it is Christmas, happier than I have ever been. It's safe to say that my love for you is true. Tomorrow it is Christmas, the first for me and you. I've longed for this moment.
Probably after Christmas is when I will do a lot more deep cleaning, when everything is up and away. But we do have to move the couch all the way back to the back door in order to make space for the tree. And you see the little space right there on the right? That's where we're going to put the tree. So in this upstairs attic attached to the playroom, I don't know why there's an attic right there, but it's kind of genius for the amount of Christmas decor that I have, is where I keep the tree. And I have 2 different tree bags to fit it in. The green tree bag is a little bit smaller, and it has the top 2 pieces on there, and then the black bag has the bottom 3 pieces. So it's extremely heavy, and instead of bringing down all of the boxes, then I just take it down piece by piece. Both of the tree bags are from Amazon, and I think the black tree bag said it was supposed to fit a 12-foot tree, but it didn't. Or even if I could fit it in there, I couldn't get it through the door, so that's why I just thought it was easier to get 2 different bags. Another game changer for me, if you're decorating a tree that is larger than, I want to say like 9 feet, is to get 2 tree stands. This way you can decorate it and unfluff it and do what you need to in different sections without having to use a ladder, or very minimal having to use a ladder. The first year or 2 with this tree, I would put everything together, which is the most traditional way to do it. And then I would be up and down a ladder. Like, to unfluff the top of the tree, it would take me probably an hour, because I was like up and down the ladder, trying to go through every branch, going back down, moving the ladder over 2 inches, going back up the ladder. You guys get it. So I started just taking the top 2 sections and then leaning it against a wall, trying to unfluff it as best as I could, and then having Chris help me put the sections on the top of the tree already all fluffed out. Then after doing that for 1 or 2 years, I want to say this was probably like 3 or 4 years ago, I was like, why don't I just get a different stand and not only just fluff it out on a different stand, but decorate it on a different stand? This will save me so much time up and down the ladder. Plus, I am a little bit scared of heights. I will admit that. So I wanted to be on the ladder as minimal as possible. But in order to decorate it and put, the top piece on, make sure that you do have help. I don't want you to try and do it on your own, and make sure that it's not too heavy to do it. So whenever I get to that part, I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. We'll do 2 sections at a time and put that on. But you could always just leave the top section off, and decorate the top section and then put that one on at the end all decorated. But I'll show you guys what I'm talking about when I get to that part. But here this has 5 sections total. I'll do 1 section at a time, unfluff everything so that I can get to it, and then put another section on before I start unfluffing that one. So now I'm getting to the 3rd layer. I'm going to start taking advantage of that extra tree stand, unfluff it on the floor here, and then we'll move it to the bigger tree. So trending tree types this year. I start getting ideas because I get ads for, all of the beautiful home decor stores, Pottery Barn, West Elm, Balsam Hill, and I kind of start looking at the way that they decorated their trees and how they decorated like their mantles and stuff like that. And I'm already exhausted, y'all. I've been up and down the stairs 5 times. This tree is heavy. But anyway, we're moving the sections from one stand to the next. But I'll start getting ideas and kind of see the trends there. And I'm noticing there's not a lot of flocked trees. And I just bought this flocked tree 2 years ago. In fact, almost all the trees in my house are flocked. So instead of going and buying a brand new tree that is, trending, I think the birch trees, they're so pretty and they are trending, and kind of like that wildernessy, foresty look is trending as well. And don't get me wrong, I love it. I absolutely love it, but I just can't buy all new stuff. So What I plan to do is keep my flocked tree because it's pretty much brand new, and then start incorporating some smaller trends to it. And you guys will see, you'll know what I'm talking about later on in this video. But after I've kind of already picked my theme, I unflocked the tree, I'm going to be adding additional lights, and these are called cluster lights. I have received more comments about these lights than any comment I've ever received on a video in my entire life. These are called cluster lights. I originally got these lights from a store in Round Top, Texas called Paul Michael, and they would come to a huge event in Houston called the Nutcracker Market, and that's where I bought a bunch of boxes. Last year, I had a lot of trouble finding them online. In fact, the last 2 years, I've had a lot of trouble finding this exact brand. It's called Designer's Excellence, and I just checked on Amazon, and they do have the exact ones that I'm using. They are the Designer's Excellent brand, and I am using the warm white and the green strand. I showed a picture of it right there. I will link it down below as well. This is the 52-foot strand, and I am using 3 52-foot strands for the 12-foot tree. So about 156-ish feet of lights for the 12-foot tree, and I did not wrap every branch. So that was me even being, cautious about how many lights I've used. Last year, I wrapped too much on the bottom, and then the top looked a little janky because I was like trying to hurry and wrap it before I ran out of lights. So here I just did in and out somewhat, but not wrapping every branch. If I had like any tip for a Christmas tree, I think just adding additional lights is going to make it look 10 times more magical. That would be the one thing that I would do different. Even if you don't use ribbon or fancy picks or anything like that, I would say go with the lights. In my video last week on my 7-foot tree, I used cascading lights. So you don't wrap them around, you wrap them down, but I'll link that video below and you can check it out. This is called a starburst light. And a quick backstory on where I got this light. So earlier this year, Chris quit his corporate job to pursue his landscaping business. And during the wintertime, he hangs and designs, does all the Christmas lights. So he has a contract with the company to get these different types of lights that they don't really sell to the public, which sucks because I can't link this exact light. But usually these lights are like the balls that you hang in your tree outside maybe. And he got this one light. He's like, we can figure out what to do with this, how to design it. And I was going through an Instagram Reels, and I saw somebody had like these lights sticking out just similar to this light. So I decided to put that starburst light on the top of our tree. I'll try to find something similar to link, or if you search starburst lights, you can probably find something a little bit similar, and then you can use it as a tree topper. All right, so after the tree is set up, the lights are on the tree, then we move on to the ribbon. So I usually decorate my tree in silver, gold, and white. I always keep it neutral. This year I'm changing it. I'm adding color. So I'm going to do red and silver and white, which means I had to get all new ribbon. I got this ribbon from that store called Craftex, but depending on how you want your ribbon to look, because there's so many different ways to put ribbon in a tree. You can, have the smaller ribbon, you can layer it, you can get the thicker ribbon. I personally like having the thicker ribbon, and make sure that the edge of the ribbon is wired. That way you can really, put it and shape it in the tree. Now, the advantage of cutting your ribbon into strands, these are probably like 12 to 18 inch strands, is that you don't have to use as much because you don't have to weave it in and out of the tree, especially a 12-foot tree, just to get like 3 layers of ribbon, 12 times 3, you can figure it out. Here, you can just get like maybe 1 or 2, or I guess I have 3 different rolls of ribbon, and I can kind of pair it with different colored ribbon and cascade it in and out of the tree in different ways, the way that I like. Now, the downside of cutting your ribbon is that once it's cut, but it's okay. You can still make it work. So what I do is I just weave it in and then I attach it to a branch. Now, if you're working with a real tree, then you can buy like the little pipe cleaners or the pipe cleaners that look like tree branches and hook them in. Last year, I did my loops on the tree a lot longer. This year, I'm double looping it. So as you can see, I hooked the top to a tree branch and then I did a really small loop. I hooked it again and then it's either an extra loop or it's just going to be like the ribbon tail. I personally like the ribbon to be layered, and because the ribbon that I'm using they're both 4 inches wide, I'll just pull it apart. Now, if I had ribbon that was different sizes, then you can put the smaller ribbon in the front and then the larger ribbon in the back and layer it that way. So once you have all of your ribbon on the tree, the next thing that you want to do, if you have them, is to add picks. So you see how I'm decorating in 2 different sections. So these are 2 sections put together, and this is actually the top of the tree. So I'm putting all these picks in here, and Chris is like, why are these things sticking out? He's like, if you make this tree top too heavy, then I'm not going to be able to get it on the top of the tree. So don't make it too heavy. So I did not, after I put these up there, I kind of stopped. Otherwise, I would have just kept going and made the top look like a humongous firework. But the next thing I'm going to do is add these beautiful picks throughout the whole tree. I got all of these picks again from that store called Craftex. I went way over budget, but they have similar poinsettias, butterflies, cardinals, like all different kinds of these beautiful picks to add to your tree at home, at Hobby Lobby, at all of your regular Christmas stores. So you can certainly get creative on what you add to your tree. It does not have to be just plain ball ornaments. Obviously, I add a lot. I do know that the minimal look is going on right now. You can certainly do that. I just love having it look full and vibrant and glittery and all of the things. But it's your home, it's your tree. Do what you want to look at every single day because you're going to be the one turning it on and looking at it every night. So do y'all remember the steps so far? The very first one I didn't talk about was to pick a color scheme, pick a theme, get, all of your ornaments and decor that you need. Second step is to fluff out your whole tree. If you want to do it in 2 different sections like I did, for me it's easier, then you can do it that way. The next step was to add your extra lights, which are game changer. The next step is to add your ribbon. You don't have to necessarily cut it if you don't want to, but if you do choose to add ribbon, then that would be next. Then your next step is going to be to add your picks. And then once you've gotten that on your tree, then you can add your specialty ornaments. Now, these specialty ornaments are ornaments that are not basically your standard ball ornaments. Your ball ornaments are going to go last on your tree, which I just added a couple ball ornaments here and there. I don't love the hooks. In my last video, you saw my hooks get so tangled up. So if I can avoid ball ornaments, then that is what I will opt for. But I just used a couple here and there. So we have 2 sections, and this is what I mean about adding it after you decorated it. So you do need someone to help you. It does get heavy. Chris and I have been doing this for several years, so I'm confident that he can do it safely on the ladder. So what I will then go back and do is fix that layer in between and make sure that there's no empty spots where the 2 parts connected. Another debate is, do you decorate the back of your tree? Well, I mean, it depends where your tree is. I do not go all out on the back of my tree. I focus on the front only, the parts that will be displayed. I used to decorate the entire tree, and then I'm like, what's the point? Nobody's going to see back here, and it's just more work. So typically I do not decorate the back of my tree. But as with anything, it's up to you. Next, I have the tree just about done, but I am going to work on creating the garland for the mantle. So I've been seeing the cedar garland trending a lot, and I mentioned before that what I like to do to get inspiration and ideas is go to the high designer store and look at how they're advertising their products, and then kind of mimic or copy their design, just maybe with some cheaper products, or if all else fails, I may end up buying what they're advertising. But I saw this design, I think at Crate and Barrel, and they were advertising their berry strand, and they had it wrapped in like this beautiful thick cedar garland. But I thought if I just bought cedar garland that is just regular green to recreate that look, it would not go with everything I have flocked, my flocked tree, my flocked wreath, everything that I have. So when I went to Hobby Lobby just to look around, I decided to get the gold glitter tipped cedar garland. I put a picture right here for the one that I got, and the frosted pine garland, and then weave them together so that I still get the cedar look with a little bit of the frosted look, so it'll go with the rest of my house. And then I bought these bunches of berries that I'm going to incorporate throughout it. The fuller that the garland looks, in my opinion, the better it looks. So I'm going to use pipe cleaners to tie them together and then see how it turns out.
Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sand, you and me. Doesn't matter, it's Christmas in my heart. And I can promise Santa's coming to visit. No, he wouldn't miss this in Christmas times. Oh, and the sunset is just getting better on a blanket with the skyline painted in blue. Ooh, yeah, that's what we do. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sand.
So I have two of the strands tied together, and I'm just going to kind of open it up, fluff it out. That way you can see the frosted pine as well as the cedar. And then next I'm going to attach them together to make it extra long, and then continue to use the pipe cleaners to tie the cedar and the pine together. I am going to cascade it down just on one side like that picture showed, because I think it almost works perfect, because whenever you kind of walk into our front door, you cannot see, with the tree there, you cannot see one side of the fireplace mantle anyway. So it works out perfect. Next, I'm going to add those same Designer's Excellence cluster lights to this garland. Now, this is a smaller strand. I don't remember the exact feet size, whatever. I think it's probably around 20 feet, maybe a little bit more, but not as long as the ones I have for the Christmas tree. So I'm going to wrap that in here. And because my Christmas tree is right next to this garland, I want it to all twinkle or flicker together. When I went to one of the designer warehouses, they had like these beautiful garlands all over these, decorative fireplaces. And I asked the person there, I'm like, how do you get the garland to stay on the fireplace? And she's like, oh, you just nail it in, use really strong nails. And I'm like, well, I can't really nail it into my fireplace. It'll ruin the fireplace. So I saw on Instagram a reel or a TikTok or something, they used these command hooks. So I went ahead and ordered these command hooks. I was a little bit hesitant because this garland is, already double layered, and I'm adding going to be adding some of the berries to it, I was nervous if this was going to stay. So we put 3 command hooks. We started it on the very end. We also put one in the middle and then on the edge. And these command hooks have held up really good. So going forward, I am going to use these command hooks. They work great. What I've had done in the past was just try and put a garland like on top of the fireplace mantle. We have that mirror that sticks out, and that mirror is secured into the wall, but it is like designed to look like it's just leaning against the wall. So I do not have any room to put anything on top. Usually everything just falls. So I like that I can put this on the front of the mantle, kind of like the picture that I wanted, and it stays secure. Next are the thick berry bunches. So I also debated just adding a strand of berries around it, but instead I just went with getting bunches and then sticking it into the garland. I would need a lot more berries to accomplish the look in my inspo pic, but I only bought like 5 bunches of berries because I wasn't sure how this was going to turn out. But the way that I have it, I'm absolutely in love. It's following the seasonal trends while also working with my tree and some of the decor that I already had. The final touch is the stockings, and I used to have stocking holders, but I was at Hobby Lobby, saw these command hooks. I have broke so many stocking holders by trying to put them on and them falling over. But I had Chris go ahead and even them out, and I'm also going to add these. This is actually the final touch, is a couple of the cardinals I took from the tree. They just red cardinals represent people that we've lost in the past. So it's kind of like they are watching over us. So I added that, and I feel like everything is just in the details. All right, moving on to the media table. I bought this. This was the very first berry garland I bought throughout the season. Like I said, I just started purchasing things not fully knowing how it was going to all tie in together. This one was from Walmart, and it's great, but the berries fall off. I mean, they are shedding everywhere. They shed all over my car. They shed all over this table, all over the floor. So I'm wrapping them in this existing garland that I already had, and I already had wrapped like little fairy lights into this one. So I'm just going to add that here to tie into the mantle. So remember this console table? This is where I first started off. I didn't want to start decorating this until I had the rest of the living room done. So now I can get a better picture of how I want to do this space. So this garland is one that I got at Home Goods. I wrapped my own lights around it, and I used to put this one on the media table, but I thought that it would go great over here on this table. Again, with the berries, I want to tie everything together. So I just have like 3 or 4 berries that I added here, and then the reindeer I saw at Hobby Lobby I absolutely loved, so I went ahead and added those there. And then these small pencil trees, again, I'm going to add a couple of berries here. So lastly, to finish up this area, I'm just going to grab a box of some of my existing decor. These are a box full of some of my longer Christmas trees, and also I have to pull out Santa. Now I do put things up, take things down, and then ultimately I just decided to keep it kind of simple. I pull out one of my flocked snowy Christmas trees and then one of my gold stick Christmas trees, and then add Santa with the reindeer, and then keep this area pretty simple. next, when I thought I was almost done, I have to pull out all of my wreaths. Now this one is my main wreath that matches the Christmas tree and also goes above the mantle. And in order, again, to tie it with everything, I'm just adding a couple frosted berries. Now I did wrap my own lights onto this wreath as well. So the lights that are on the tree, the lights that are on this wreath, and the lights that are on the garland are all synced together. I saw this wreath from the Heart and Hand collection at Target, and it is so beautiful in person. So I ended up putting it on the back door. The lighting makes it difficult to see the color, but it is beautiful. And to finish off for the couch, I needed a nice, comfy, cozy red blanket that I also got from Target. And I did use some existing pillows that I had from previous years. The reindeer pillows are from Michael's. I'm just going to finish up a few other things and then I will give you guys the home tour.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know, if I'll ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high. Even if the sky is falling down. Jumping from cliffs so high, trusting our wings to fly. Sometimes we're crashing down, but we get up and start from the ground. And I really wanna know, if I'll ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high. Even if the sky is falling down, even if the sky is falling down, yeah. The sky is falling down. Even if the sky is falling down, even if the sky is falling down, yeah. The sky is falling down.
On November 19th, 2020, I posted my very first Christmas clean and decorate video. At the time, the only people subscribed to me were a few of my friends and family. So if I was going to post a video out into the world of my favorite holiday, then it had to be perfect. I quickly realized in the YouTube world, you have to get all of your Christmas decorating and videos up in advance. This way, people will watch your videos and implement your tips and tricks before they start decorating. I pulled out my 12-foot tree, already started decorating late for YouTube world, put it up, filmed everything, and bam, none of the lights but one strand worked. After that, it just became a snowball effect where one thing after the next went completely wrong. 2020 was already a rough year, and as excited as I was about this decorating, I knew it was going to be a bust. I just went with it, shared every single moment of my decorating, and posted the video. Little did I know, with a video that I thought just my mom would watch, turned into a video that has gained almost 500,000 views and jump-started my YouTube journey. Since then, I have learned how to be more organized, become a better parent, become a better homemaker, declutter my home, inspire thousands of people, and build this awesome community with each and every single one of you. So keep in mind this holiday season, even when it stresses you out, that nothing is going to be perfect. Nothing is supposed to be perfect, but it's going to work out exactly the way that it should. So regardless of how many Griswold moments you have this year, and you had to have watched that video to understand that term, just know that in the end, everything is going to work out exactly the way that it should. So let's kick off the holiday 2022 decorating, starting in my dining room. I'm going to be decorating the table, this space, putting up our 7-foot Christmas tree this way, right against the window. This way, whenever you're driving down our street and we have the blinds open, then you can see the Christmas tree in the window. That's always my favorite view. Last year was the first year that we did that. But then I'm also going to be decorating the guest bathroom Grinch style. The next 4 to 5 videos are all going to be my Christmas clean and decorate series. So if you're not subscribed, then I would love for you to subscribe. This way you don't miss any area that I decorate. I'm implementing a bit of color this year, changing up the living room space, which you'll see in next week's video. And also I will be going back to my mom's house and decorating her home as well. So I'm so excited to share with you guys everything that I have, how I'm decorating it this year, any tips and tricks to make your life easier when decorating, and you can always leave me a comment if there's something I didn't mention that you have a question on. So the last several minutes you saw me cleaning up this space as best as I can before I start pulling out some of the decorations in the attic.
Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring, it will always be Christmas in my heart. And family, making angels in the sand, you and me. Doesn't matter, it's Christmas in my heart. And I can promise Santa's coming to visit. No, he wouldn't miss this in Christmas times.
Have several attics in our home, obviously great for storage and decoration storage. So this is an attic that is upstairs, and this is where I keep our trees. And then the attic that you just saw in the garage is where we keep a lot of the outside decorations and just all other decorations. We plan to go through that and become a lot more organized with our decorating. So once this is over, I'm going to use my elephant track system to label and make our Christmas decorations a lot more organized. I started using that system, I want to say in the summertime when I started, in the springtime when I'm putting away all of our spring stuff. So as each season comes and goes is when when I'm putting stuff away, that's when I plan on doing more of the organizing. But the tree that I'm putting up now is a 7-foot tree that I purchased last summer. Yes, I purchased in the summer because it was like 50% off from King of Christmas. And one thing that I try to always check is if the lights work, because I don't want to put up the entire tree and then none of the lights work. So that's what I'm doing now. And then the next step is to go through and fluff out your tree. So last year I saw a friend who had just so happened to watch one of my how to decorate your Christmas tree videos, and she said, "Oh, I didn't know you were supposed to fluff out your tree like that." So I am sure to mention it every time, and I like to do it layer by layer, but I think it also depends on the type of tree you have. Like if you have one of those spruce Christmas trees where the branches point downwards, or if you have one of those simple Christmas trees, I like to think of them like little Charlie Brown Christmas trees. Those are trending right now. You probably don't have to fluff as much. For the type of trees I have, I like to make sure they're nice and full and fluff them out. So here's the top layer. Because this tree is 7 foot, I don't like getting on a ladder. I like to just get on it as minimal as possible. So I will fluff it out on the bottom layer first, put that one aside, and then put the middle layer back in. Most trees, or at least the ones that I have seen, are layered. So take advantage of this stand and fluffing out the tree, decorating the tree, and using the different layers without putting it all together and then trying to fill out the entire tree. You'll see my 12-foot tree, I can't even get to the top of the tree with the ladder that we have. So I decorate it in 2 different sections. But here, right now, I'm making sure that the way that the lights connect, they all work. And just a little funny story. The top of the tree, I could not get the connections right. I don't know why. This tree is a little bit weird, as in there's like several different types of connections. It's not just one simple plug-in. And I could not get the top of the tree of the lights to work. And after this day, I kind of like threw in the towel, and I had Chris, I'm like, I can't think anymore. The top of the tree doesn't work, and I just bought this tree last year. So I don't know what to do. I guess I'll just put lights in it. It'll look janky. I don't know. So later that night, he went in and was like, you have all of these connections wired wrong. So thankful for him to fix that. And then we got the entire tree up and lit up.
Let's go outside, the snow is falling down and every child is having so much fun. The snowman is twice the size as me.
So I have specific steps that I use to decorate my tree to make my life so much easier. I add extra lights to just about every tree, and in this tree in particular, I'm adding these cascading LED lights. I have 2 videos that talks about how to decorate a Christmas tree, including this Christmas tree I decorated last year, as well as my other 12-foot Christmas tree, which I will link both of those videos down below. These cascading lights I purchased at a store here in Houston that is kind of a wholesale store, and I have had difficulty finding them online. So that's one of the bad things about, I guess, what I do is I like to find out like these wholesale stores, or we've even drone to Round Top, Texas to go to this one store, Paul Michael, and get a lot of stuff. But with that, it makes it so hard to find some of this stuff online. So I apologize, but I'm going to try and find very similar things to that and link them as much stuff as I possibly can. But the lights are going to be the biggest thing. So these cascading lights are great because they're simple. You don't have to wrap them around the tree like I will my other tree, because that takes a lot of time. But because these strands are so thin, they do get easily tangled. I do not remember last year if I struggled with them, but I do know that this year when I started unfolding them and going down to the bottom, they were getting extremely tangled, and it actually was really frustrating. And it took me a while to like weed everything out and get it perfect. And I do apologize, it's kind of like strobe light because I have this video fast forward, so it looks like it's blinking really fast. But here's what I mean, where I got these lights pretty tangled at the very bottom of the tree. I think they kind of run around 9 feet long, and since this is a 7-foot tree, what I do is just kind of weave them in and out. But yes, here I did struggle quite a bit, but eventually I got it all worked out. But I am using I'm using two of those, one for half of the tree, and then I will go around and do the other half of the tree with the other strand.
This day with you. Let me give you a Christmas moment we'll fill with love and joy. Love and so beautiful, kissing on a mistletoe, baby, with you. I don't need any presents as long as I spend this day with you. So beautiful, kissing on a mistletoe, baby, with you.
Another thing about these lights is that they will only stay in this blinking mode, so you can't just turn them on and have them on, and you can't change the settings. So it's just kind of a one thing deal. Another thing is that if the lights go out, then there's no fuse or anything like that to fix them. So, but they still work from last year. So unless anybody knows a better way, then I would just have to toss them and get some new ones. The next step that I do is add ribbon. So I also have a more in-depth video about adding ribbon to your Christmas tree, and in my Christmas how to decorate a Christmas tree video, I talk a lot about the ribbon, how to cut it, the way that I cut it, and everything like that. So this is the color scheme that I use on our main tree, and it is a lot of gold, silver, and white. So what I plan to do in this room is use my gold, silver, and white in this area, and then I was going to implement more color in my main tree. So I do not know how that tree is going to turn out, but I got a lot of new stuff for it, and I think that adding red is going to make it pop so much more. But all of my ribbon was already pre-cut into between 12 and 18 inches. Now, this ribbon was made for my 12-foot tree. So these ribbon, you can see, is a lot longer. So what I'm doing here is I'm doubling it up to give it a more dramatic look. And then I'm looping it in twice. So on my main tree, I only did one loop. And here, because it's a smaller tree, I am doing 2 loops. Any of the bigger or longer pieces I'm going to add to the bottom, and any of the pieces that are a lot shorter, then I'm going to add those to the top. That's also the same method you should use when you have your Christmas balls. Any of the bigger size balls you would put closer to the bottom, and then any of the smaller ones you can add closer to the top. When picking ribbon, I like to pick different sizes, textures, and colors. This way it will just give the tree lots of drama. Now, you obviously don't have to, because it really just depends on the look that you're going for. But one of the advantages of cutting the ribbon, so especially if you buy, because ribbon can get pretty pricey, so especially if you buy really good quality ribbon, you don't have to use as much, because you don't have to weave it all the way from top to bottom. You can just pick sections of the tree where you see any kind of holes or gaps, or just where you think it's going to look nice, and then add it to that section. If you do decide to double layer it, then you can pull it apart to make it look thicker, or if you have different sizes, you can always use the thicker piece on the bottom, the thinner piece on top, and just layer it that way. And then in that case, you probably would not be pulling it apart. The way that I wrap it in the tree is just to use the branches that are already there. Take a branch loop and just wrap it around. If you add picks to your trees, which is the next step that I do, then you can always add a pick right in between where one of those branch loops tied onto the ribbon. But I think for now I'm good with this amount of ribbon on this tree. My next step, after I have put up the tree, fluffed it out in different layers and sections, put the lights on the tree, add the ribbon to the tree, is to add any of your picks or sprays, which are these long pieces. So if you add the long pieces to the top of the tree, it can make your tree look almost a foot taller, depending on how tall your picks are and then how many you add. So for example, this is a 7-foot tree and my window is closer to 9 feet, I believe. So I'm just adding it to about the top of the window. That way you can see the entire tree from the outside of the window. But also keep in mind your ceiling height. So if you have, let's say, 9-foot ceilings, I would not recommend getting a 9-foot Christmas tree or even an 8-foot Christmas tree, because you need some space for the stand and also anything that you add to the top of the tree. But once you've added all of your picks throughout the tree, then the next thing would be to add any specialty type ornaments, or let's say like non-ball ornaments. Fill in the gaps of your trees with all of those special ornaments, the ones that have the most memories to you, the ones that are unique and different. And then your final step would be to add your ball ornaments. And of course, when you need ornament hooks, this is by far one of my worst pet peeves. This is what always happens. So I pull some out, I shake it, and then I'm able to add these to the tree. So when you have a full tree with different types of things in your tree, then you don't have to buy as many ball ornaments. And one of my biggest tips when adding the ball ornaments is add them in your tree. Don't just hook them on the very edge, because it's going to make them like pop out. I do that a couple places, but for the most part, I like to add them inside the tree. So I'm going to work on the table next, but I will show you guys the tree in a minute. I end up changing some things on the tree. So when I go to the store, come back around, finish adding some color to it, then I'll show you guys what it looks like. Last year I added red to this area, and I plan to do the same as well as throughout the whole house. The red Christmas tree berries. So I'm going a lot with the berry theme this year. I purchased a lot of berry type stuff, so I'm hoping that everything turns out good, which I think this room did turn out great. But those berry trees I got from At Home, as well as the wreaths that you'll see in just a minute. I played around with the table for a while, trying to like mix and match and how I wanted it to be. I kind of wish I had more of the small tree so I could make this look like a pretty Christmas tree farm, but those little small trees are either from the Dollar Tree or Target. I cannot remember exactly where I bought them, but I'm adding just one of these berry picks in the center of this candle holder just to tie in all the berries on the table. The next thing I'm going to do is add these red berry wreaths to the center of the mirror type pictures that I have in the dining room. So one of my tricks is that Pinterest is a good source, but sometimes Pinterest can be a little overwhelming. But I'll start getting ads to like expensive decor stores like Pottery Barn, West Elm, Balsam Hill, all of these places. And sometimes, you know, the prices can be a little bit pricey. So I will try to mimic the design that they have in their area with what I want in my area. So I went and bought these 3 berry wreaths from At Home, and they had a beautiful picture, and I cannot for the life of me remember where I saw this or what store it was from, but they had tied the long ribbon around it and make it look like, instead of like having a wreath hook or just like tying it to a nail, they had this elegant ribbon that went around it just like this. And then I've seen it, they've had it from their kitchen cabinets. Maybe you know the ad that I'm talking about, but I've also seen it on the Ken Woven channel. Rebecca Robeson is an interior designer at the Ken Woven channel. I use a lot of her tips and tricks as well, but they have it tied to windows as well. So here I decided to take that look, tie the ribbon around, and then make it kind of look a little bit more elegant than if it were just sitting on that mirrored picture itself. So with just a little bit of ribbon, it changed up the look of this room, and I am loving the way that it is turning out so far. But because the Christmas tree seemed a little bit plain and didn't tie in, I decided to add these little berries throughout the tree just to kind of complete the entire look and, like I just said, tie everything together. So I'm not adding a whole lot of color to this tree. I want the main focus to be kind of the whole vases and the Christmas trees on the table, but then adding that pop of color to the tree itself. And there is Rye. Can you guys believe he's 3 months old already? This will be his first Christmas, and I am so excited. One of my favorite things to do for Christmas is to go to places that have like big light shows, or to drive around neighborhoods, some of the best neighborhoods that have the best Christmas lights up. I love Christmas lights. I love looking at the creativity that people come up with and all the different themes. It is by far one of my favorite things about the Christmas and about Christmas decor. So leave me a comment down below. Let me know your favorite thing about Christmas. So here's a completed tree without the lights on. As you can see, it is shades of gold, silver, and white with those pops of berries in there. Here are the berry wreaths with the ribbon tied with them, and also the table. I'm going to do is the guest bathroom. If you are throwing any holiday parties or hosting anyone for the holidays, then the guest bathroom is one of the most used spaces in your home. So just adding a few decorations can help your guests also feel the spirit. Thanks to Costco and their bulk soap, I have actually already had that soap in there for about a year. It came with like a huge 4-pack, and then my mom gave me some extra ones, so we had a ton of Christmas soap. But last year I decorated our guest bathroom Grinch theme, and I'm going with it again this year. The Grinch is such a classic movie, and the girls absolutely love it. So all of my Grinch decorations are from Hobby Lobby. And I mean, come on now, this statement couldn't be more true. But I'm going to pull out all of my bathroom decorations and go ahead and work on creating this space. I realized I had too much small of that like tabletop decor because I didn't have that little Christmas tree last year. So I ended up ordering this sticky putty from Amazon. I actually used it. I'm going to use it at my mom's house for some of her string lights, but it's supposed to be really thick hold. It had awesome reviews. It's not supposed to tear the paint off your walls. And I am trying it out for the first time, and I'm just sticking it to this so I can stick those to the walls without putting nails in the wall. And so far, it's held up great. Here is the completed guest bathroom with just a couple of things. I've transformed it into a fun Grinch space. But thank you guys so much for joining me and kicking off the 2022 seasonal decor video series with me. Make sure you click that red subscribe button. There is lots more fun coming. and click that bell notification so you'll know exactly when a new video comes. Take a quick moment of gratitude and happy decorating. I'll see you guys next week. I think we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel as I am almost done decorating my home. So in today's video, I'm working on this whole front entryway area where I have a couple more trees to set up, as well as decorating the console table and working on the front porch. My front porch is a little pathetic right now as it is the middle of November and I still have some fall and Halloween out. So yeah, but anyway, my front porch was my least favorite decorated area last year. I just couldn't get the garland right. I don't know. I ended up just leaving it, but it wasn't my favorite. So this year I'm going to change it up. So I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm hoping for the best. If this is your first time finding my videos, then be sure to say hi in the comments below. Be sure to check out part 1 and part 2 where I decorated my entire home. I absolutely love decorating for Christmas. So the whole month of November is Christmas decorating. And when I'm done here, I am headed to my mom's house and decorating her home as well. So be sure to subscribe so you won't miss any of those upcoming videos. So right now, when you walk through our door, you had to walk through a pile of mess before you got to our beautiful winter wonderland. So I'm here to change that up. I'm gonna clean a little bit around, head up to the attic, pull out everything I need for the entryway, and then I'm going to then work on the front porch. So let's go ahead and start in the entryway. I ordered this entryway. It comes with like 2 trees and a wreath and a pretty garland. I ordered that from King of Christmas last summer. Yes, summer, so that I could get an extra discount. And everything is flocked. So I'm going to unflock all of these trees, unfluff them, and then decorate the entryway. This flocked set does make quite a bit of a mess. My big 12-foot tree does not shed this much, but it's pretty simple to pick up. I feel like even if I didn't have it flocked, and I would still have like bristles and everything all over the floor. So regardless, I do still have to vacuum and clean up afterwards. So the flocked sets and trees and everything were really popular last year, a couple years ago, and I went crazy and bought everything flocked. So that's why everything is white around our house. So this year I did add color to my tree. I love how it turned out. Next year I might add a little bit of green as well, where this year I just did like red, silver, and white kind of throughout the whole house. So to keep it kind of trending, even if flocked trees aren't super trending, what I did was add some of the trends. That way I didn't have to buy completely new sets of everything to keep up with the time. If you watched part 1 and part 2, then you saw that I added lots of berries to the house. I guess that was my theme this year, was red berries. And I'll add a little bit over here, but over here is where I I just started last year, was making this the nativity set. So the plug that I'm hooking it into is operated by a remote. So I'm planning to hook everything up, all these lights, into that one like hanging plug set, and then that way I can just operate the whole thing through a remote control. I know that there are different apps. You can also do it through downloading things through an app. But so far, since we've had the remotes, we've been using them for a couple of years. We are just going to stick to that this year. We have 2 different sets that we got from Home Depot, but you can probably find them on Amazon as well.
Let's go outside, the snow is falling down and every child is having so much fun. The snowman is twice the size as me, with a smile as quirky as mine. We're holding hands to keep each other warm while we stand and watch a choir performing all the Christmas songs that we love. Yeah, all the Christmas songs.
There's a tiny little hole already in our wall from last year where it was centered, so I found the hole and just added the nail there, and then that's where the wreath will go. The wreath is battery operated, so I don't have a cord hanging there. I don't love battery operated stuff, but I can put a timer on there and it will go off on its own. This is an advent calendar that I have. I put it here every year. And one year I put Hershey Kisses chocolate in there, but this year I'm not going to be doing that. Here is yet another flocked tree. You guys, I was not kidding about the flocked trees. I used to have a couple plain green trees. I ended up giving all of those away. So like I mentioned before, I'm just going to incorporate color and some small trends here around the house to bring it to life. This tree in particular I got from either Marshall's or TJ Maxx a couple of years ago, and I added my own LED string light. So one of the biggest questions I get is, where do I get my lights? And the ones on this tree are from Amazon. They are called cluster lights. I repeat that, they are called cluster lights. In a couple of videos, I had called them twinkle lights because you can change the settings and they kind of twinkle. If you're wanting to do your own research and look, they're called cluster lights. This berry kind of garland, I'm going to make it. I wasn't really sure what to do with this berry garland. I got it from At Home, and originally I was going to pull the cluster berries off of them and stick them into a tree. Because it was cheaper to just buy this one strand opposed to buying, 10 individual berry bunches. But I did that. I ended up not doing that and just kind of used it as a tree skirt. I think it gives it a little unique touch and kind of blends in with the rest of the house. I also am adding red Christmas balls on this tree. I did not use as many Christmas tree ball ornaments on the main tree, so I had a lot of red ones left over, and I'm using a bigger size. I think these are the 4-inch ball ornaments.
I don't need any presents as long as I spend this day with you. So beautiful, kissing on a mistletoe, baby, with you.
I went in the attic and brought down my box here, which I have some of the stuff that I was going to put on this front entryway table. One of my Mary and Joseph and Jesus statues, Joseph's head came off, so I'm going to have to fix that. I had another nativity set in there that I decided not to take out, and this fur thing somebody gave to me, but I know that they got it from Home Goods. And then the 3 kings here I purchased from Costco last year. They are absolutely beautiful, so I'm going to put those on one side and then my Mary and Joseph and baby Jesus figurine set on the other side, and keep this area kind of simple and just focused on this theme. I have a lot of Christmas decor that I did not use this year. In the past, I would try and make sure that I used absolutely everything. And here I'm just going to glue his head back on, put this back together. But this year I'm kind of just getting the feeling that if it doesn't look good in the area, then I'm not going to put it out. So if you watch my videos beyond decorating, then I do lots of organizing, cleaning, and decluttering. So there's always this guilt of, well, if I'm not using it, do I have to get rid of it? So my take on it is it depends. I don't feel like you need to get rid of everything. I think there's this guilt around holding on to stuff, but then there's also this guilt of, should I get rid of it just because I didn't use it this year? Obviously, you want to do what's best for you, but you could always ask yourself, do you have the space for it? That's probably the biggest factor. Do you love it? Do you think you'll use it again next year? And then you can just go from there. Because I enjoy decorating, I've accumulated a nice collection over the years, so I tend to have a lot. I'll just take it year by year. So lanterns are always fun to decorate because you can do different things with them. Last year I put some fake snow and some Christmas trees. This year I'm just going to do something simple, just put a couple snowman that I've had, and then I'm also going to put the basket with the blankets over here to hide all of those plugs and cords.
It's cold outside, but the fire keeps us warm. We can spend the night beneath the mistletoe. It's cold outside.
These birch trees that I'm setting up are from Hobby Lobby. So I originally ordered some to put next to our media table in the living room, and I was going to put them on either side of the TV. I opened one, set one up already, and did not like them over there, so I'm going to put them next to the stairs. But I had saw some on West Elm and they were 75% off, so I ordered 4 of them. And they emailed me like a month later and was like, nope, these are all out of stock, sorry. So I was kind of upset about that because they were like such a great deal. So I kind of looked around to different places where I could find these birch trees. They have some really nice ones at Costco, but I ultimately just went to the ones at Hobby Lobby, and I think they were around $50 each with the 60% off. They also came with stakes so that you can use them outside if needed. So I finally finished our entryway, and I love how it turned out.
It's cold outside.
And here is a quick view at night. Next, and hopefully final project for the house, for me at least, is going to be the front porch. Does anyone else struggle with their front porch? So when you use the standard wreath and garland, what I've come to notice is that the type of garland does matter. But in order to keep the girls busy while I work on the garland, I'm going to string all the lights. Then I pulled out their mini Christmas tree. They get to decorate it, and this tree will go in their bedroom. I strung this one with pink lights from Walmart, and then over the years they have gotten different either Hallmark ornaments or princess ornaments, and then they're going to be working on their tree while I'm going to be working on these 2 trees as well as the garland. I got these 2 trees from Michael's several years ago. Last year is when I believe the lights went out in them, so I ended up stringing my own cluster lights around these trees. And since this year the inside of my home I added red, then I'm also going to be adding red lights on the outside. The best type of lights, in my opinion, to use on the inside as well as the outside of your home is LED lights because they use less electricity. Before we switched to LED lights, our breakers kept going out all the time. Like we'd come home and half the lights would be on, half of them would be off. Also, if it rains or the weather is bad, they also don't trip the breaker and go out. So we've had a lot of success with LED lights, and that's what I'm using in these trees, as well as whenever I string the garland. The cluster lights that I used in these trees, which I put last year, are ones from Amazon. I have a little bit different ones in my main tree, but they are pretty similar. If I can remember correctly, I think it is a 50-foot strand, which is kind of a lot of lights for these smaller trees, also because I'm going to be adding more lights to them. So remember I said the garland does matter around the door. I've had trouble finding really good garland, but if you watch my previous videos, I talked about a store called Craftex. It's in Houston, but you can purchase stuff from them online. So it's a big warehouse, and we went there this year and I saw this garland. So I struggled with finding really thick garland because every garland that I put around the door in my house just looked super puny. And one year we went on a walk, and our a neighbor kind of in another section had the most beautiful door garland, and it was a couple years ago, and I could never get over it. So I have been trying to find kind of inexpensive garland that is nice and thick and that will look beautiful around the front door. So when we went to Craftex, I saw this garland, and what it is it's 18-inch thick garland. I think most garland thickness is, I want to say, 12 to 14 inches, and this one is 18 inches. So as you can see here, it is super thick, which is what I want. I don't want to have to buy like 3 garland and strand them all together. I just wanted one good one. So I'm going to unfluff it, and then I'm going to add my own lights to it.
A sunny day, but it's cold outside. It tingles in my heart. Breathing air that clears my mind. I'm off for a good start. I hear those jingle bells, people singing about love.
So each strand is 9 foot long. So I bought 2 strands. I think that our doors are, the front door is about 9 feet tall as well. I'm not sure. So I figured 2 would be good. And then I'm using white and red LED lights. So these are, so the garland is 9 feet long. So I have 2 garlands, so it'll be 18 feet long. And each of these strands is 23 feet long, but I need 2 strands for 1 light. So who would have thought stringing lights would be so complicated? But anyway, so I have, each strand is 23 feet long, so I needed 2 of them. So I have 46 feet for 9 feet of garland. And that is just in the white lights. And again, remember, this is 18 inches thick as well. So I hope you got that, because I'm not repeating it, but I'll simplify it. I needed 4 white strands and 4 red strands to do all of the garland.
Celebrate this day. Everyone's smiling and it's snowing. It's the time of year again. I'm happy you're here, my winter wonderland. No.
So as I'm finishing stringing all of this, Chris and I have a debate about outdoor lights. So he loves all white lights, and I like adding a little bit of color. Like I said, I'm just adding some red and stuff, but he likes it all white, which I do like all white. I feel like it is very classic, but whenever you're driving around looking at lights and you see like a standout house, usually I feel like there's color and accessories to it. It's not just all white lights. Although all white lights are still really pretty. But do you know what I mean when you see that standout house? I don't know. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what type of lights you like outside, whether you like all white or you like adding a little bit of color. So I finished the garland up. I want to get Chris to hang it. We do have nails from outside, on the outside that we used last year, but they are too small. So he's going to actually have to take this down. I just wanted to see what it looked like. I'm so happy with the way it turned out. We can't hang it just yet. He's got to go back to Home Depot and get some really thick hooks because it is so thick. we need something more sturdy to hang it. So until then, I'm going to work back on these trees and start adding red lights to these. This way, all the lights on the front porch will match and be consistent. Next, we're going to work on the wreath, which this wreath I got last year from Costco. It does come with battery operated lights, but I'm going to go ahead and add some more lights, the more the merrier, red and white. Now it's time to get this area picked up. For some reason, I picked the coldest day in Texas to do this, and I'm freezing, but I'm gonna get it done. So these pots, we have like sprinklers tied into them. So I was like, what kind of plant can we put in there? And I think I'm just gonna do away with the pots in general. And I debated a lot about ordering these lanterns from Costco. And right before I went and recorded this, I ordered them. So this way I don't have to worry about what to put in these pots, whether to put like Christmas trees or Italian cypress. I'm gonna rip out all of the plants in here. Half of them are dead anyway. Get Chris to move them. Right now I'm just moving them off of the porch, but when our lanterns come in, then I'm gonna have him move them completely out of the way. Unfortunately, the lanterns are not going to come in time, as well as some of the other outdoor stuff I ordered. So what I figured that I would do is do a home tour video, like my whole house, including the front porch. So whenever those do come in, then it'll be in that video. But for now, I've blown everything off and also hosed down, where those pots were. And now I'm going to bring out the trees and bring out the rest of the outdoor items.
I can't wait for the weekend, waking up next to you.
I wanted to add bows to the wreath as well as to the garland, and I was going to at first make my own, but then I didn't have enough of the nicer ribbon to make the bows, and we were at Home Depot that evening or earlier that day or the day before, and I just saw these bows and picked a few of them up. They're not my favorite, but they'll work for now. I don't know if any of you guys put red bows out outside. I did this on one of our bigger wreaths, and all of the red just faded to orange. So I ended up having to take down that bow anyway. So I don't know. Hopefully these will last the year, but if not, then next year I will make my own bows and make them bigger and better. So Chris got the hooks nailed into the brick so they're nice and thick, and we're going to try this one more time.
Let's have a toast for the lovers. We'll tumble round in the snow, and my heart's going boom, boom, boom. You're so beautiful. Can you feel it too? Girl, I won't let you go. When the sky comes alive, let's have a jolly holiday.
Once we have the garland up, then I'm going to add the bows to the two corners and the center. I would have moved the camera so you could see it a lot better, but it started raining, so I ended up just going ahead and doing it, and I think it looks so good. The 18-inch thick Garland made the biggest difference, and I'm just so happy the way it turned out. I'll show y'all what it looks like at night in just a minute, but thank you guys for decorating with me. Please make sure you're subscribed. I have more decorating coming, and I will see you guys next week.
Just wanna have a holiday, yeah, yeah. Let's have a jolly holiday. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sand, you and me. Doesn't matter, it's Christmas in my heart. And I can promise Santa's coming to visit. No, he wouldn't miss this in Christmas times. Oh, and the sunset is just getting better on a blanket with the skyline painted in blue. Ooh, yeah, that's what we do.
Sure, Mom, I'll come help you decorate your house again this year. 3 days later, I still didn't finish, but I will give you a beautiful house tour at the end. If you've been subscribed to my channel for a while, then welcome back, and you probably realize that this is not my house. If this is your first time here, then welcome. My name is Michelle. I've already decorated my home for Christmas, and on my channel here, I do lots of seasonal decorating, but lots of cleaning motivation, organizing, home makeover projects, and all things homemaking. I would love for you to subscribe so you can get tons of motivation throughout the year. Now, I enjoy Christmas decorating so much. It's painful and rewarding at the same time. So my mom and stepdad have opened up their beautiful home, and I am going to decorate it again this year. We are using everything that we used last year, but we're going to change it up a bit this year. I am going to get started here on these shelves above the TV, but I have something so excited to share with you. This is a collaboration with Carla from Carla's Sweet Life. Carla and I became friends last year, and she is a military mom of 4. I don't know how she does it, but she does tons of cleaning, decluttering, and organizing videos. She pours her heart out, and what I love about her the most is that she is so real. Now, being on YouTube as a content creator, it's a constant battle between, do I show perfection or do I show reality? And Carla nailed it. She is perfect at showing you real life stuff, giving you tips, tricks, and just being open-hearted and, y'all, the sweetest soul ever. A while ago, I asked y'all to leave me a comment and let me know some of your favorite YouTubers and that are in the cleaning and organizing niche and decorating, and you guys mentioned Carla. So if you don't already follow her, then go click on her video. I'm going to link it down below. Go check out her latest video. I promise you will love her. And if you're already subscribed to her, then be sure to leave her a comment on her latest video, just letting her know how awesome and inspiring she is. So thank you so much, Carla, for doing this collaboration with me. And if you're here from Carla's video, come say hi in the comments below. I hope that I do not disappoint you and can give you the motivation and inspiration that you need. So I already mentioned today's video is all about decorating my mom's home, and my mom and stepdad have this beautiful Fitz and Floyd Christmas collection that they have accumulated over the years, and we are in the process of decorating this beautiful shelf with her entire collection. I will say, though, to save time, last year we did this. We took a picture of where each piece was, so we are just looking at the picture and putting everything back in that exact order. Now, my parents love Christmas just as much as I do. That's where I get it from. That's why we go all out. It's not for the camera. It's legit for ourselves, I guess you could say. But besides last year, the previous years, as the Christmas decorating just became a lot, my parents weren't putting out their big tree. We just had a smaller tree for the kids, well, their grandkids. And last year I was like, no, we need to go all out. We need to put up the big tree. We need to fabulize your home. And we did, and we're back again this year. So in today's video, I have 2 trees to decorate. I'm going to finish up this bookshelf. I have a tablescape, a console table, and also the mantle. My parents finished up a few areas on their own, so when it's all said and done, I'll show you the whole home tour with the stuff that I did decorate in today's video, as well as the stuff I did not personally decorate. But last year we put up these fairy string lights around the whole shelf, including in the middle. So what I'm doing is, after I'm putting in the, what are they called, figurines, I'm putting in this kind of fake snow and then fixing the fairy lights so that you can really get a good view of the figurines.
Hey, Santa, the city is covered in snow.
Now everything is plugged in with these Defiant plugs, which for them, they can control them on through their app or through their Amazon Alexa. I have the remote control, so either of these work. So if you don't want to use like a remote, then those could be a good option.
They don't mean nothing till this here with me. If you know where it is, please give it.
One thing about these lights that we did last year was tape them, and yes, they did. They kept them on all year round, which was awesome because I didn't have to go back and redo it. But it's not as tight as I want the lights to look, like nice, clean, and sharp. So I ended up ordering like this sticky putty because the tape kept coming off and it's not making them straight. Like you can probably see it now that I'm pointing it out, how the tape it's coming off of the top. So I go home the next day and then I come back and finish the rest of the lights around there using this sticky putty that I got on Amazon, and it makes it look a whole lot cleaner.
Sleigh bells ringing and my friends by my side, but it's not the same. Santa, I'm smiling but feeling empty inside, 'cause all of the presents are still by the tree. They don't mean a thing till he's here with me. If you know where he is, please give him a ride, and I will wait here by the candlelight. But his love is all I need, and my love I can guarantee. So please, Santa, bring back my love to me.
This is the sticky putty that I was mentioning. So I'm just going through removing the tape and then sticking it to where you can't see it at all, but it stays nice and tight and doesn't come off.
Love I can guarantee. So please, Santa, bring back my love tonight.
So once I have finished the shelves above the TV, then the next thing I'm going to do is get the big tree going. So this is a 9-foot tree, and I have tons of videos on Christmas decorating and my method to use to decorate a Christmas tree, but I'll kind of walk you through them here quickly. The first thing I do is set it up and then start unfluffing each individual branch one layer at a time. Once I have the bottom one fluffed out, then this is actually the top piece. So I'm going to fluff it out where I can reach it and not have to get on a ladder first, and then I'll move that one aside and then put on the middle branch or the middle layer. I believe this one is a pine tree. The one that I have at home is a little bit different, but the color scheme for this tree is going to be beautiful shades of golds and some silvers. It's going to be more neutral colors, very similar to what we did last year. And one thing about this tree is that we do not put on any ball ornaments. We just fill up this entire tree with ribbons and picks. Last year, this big tree was over in the dining room area. So this is the first year that they decided to move it behind the couch. We were hesitant. She kept asking my opinion, going back and forth on where we should put it. But I think that it turns out beautiful here. So these are the same lights that I use on my tree that I have at home. We bought them together, and they are the Designer's Excellence cluster lights, and they are a warm white on a green strand. So you can get them, I think I've seen them, like you can get different colors, like a white strand or whatever, but these are the cluster lights, warm white on a green strand. And always a question on the amount of lights to get. So I believe, so this is a 9-foot full tree. Now my tree at home is a 12-foot slim tree, so that can also kind of play a factor. Because these lights are a little bit pricey, I'll link them down below, but we have used them for like the last 5 or 6 years, and they have held up perfectly. So the top layer already had the lights on them. I think that was just like a 12-foot strand, and then I think she had 2 of the 25-foot strands. So I want to say about 62 feet of lights on this full 9-foot tree. Now each branch was not individually wrapped, but it just adds, even if you don't like buy a ton of lights, it just adds a special touch because you can have them twinkle and you can just, make your tree look extra fabulous. Now, the way I go about decorating trees is to first, fluff out your tree, set it up, and then I add the lights first, and then I add the ribbon next. Now, you don't have to add ribbon, but I think it just gives it a little more texture, definition, and changes it up a bit. I tend to cut my ribbon. So if you've seen my videos, you've seen that my ribbon is cut into pieces. And for my mom's tree, I decided to not cut the ribbon, but to just cascade it down. Last year, I did not layer the ribbon, so I just did one strand cascading down and then moved over a few inches or whatever, and then started the next strand cascading it down. This year I am layering the ribbon. I think it just makes it look a little bit more beautiful and a little bit more defined and eye-catching. And this is kind of what I mean about layering the two pieces together. You can see they're side by side. Now both of these are 4 inches thick ribbon, and then once I kind of get it cascaded down, then I will just pull the ribbon a little bit apart. This way you can make it extra thick, but it is still different. Now, because last year this tree was in the dining room, the back of the tree was against a wall, so we didn't fully decorate the back of the tree. This year it is out in the open, so we do need to make sure we decorate the entire tree because you can see it at every angle. So we did get some more ribbon, and this one is 2 different sizes, so I'm just going to layer those together and put it in between the other ribbon.
No, I can't wait for the weekend. Waking up next to you. We'll be sharing our secrets, making dreams come true. Let's have a toast for the lovers. We'll tumble round in the snow, and my heart's going boom, boom, boom. You're so beautiful. What a night. Can you feel it too? Girl, I won't let you go. When the sky comes alive, let's have a jolly holiday. Holiday. Let's have a jolly holiday. Holiday. Yeah. Haven't seen you in so long, though we text every day. And still my feelings.
Next, we are going to add all of the picks. I just will find where there are some gaps in the trees, or if there's something very beautiful, then I want to make sure that I put it eye level so that people can see it when they walk by. Anything that is kind of sticks up or kind of cascading like this, I want to put it on the top. I was going to make this more of like a, those look kind of like waterfall flower features. So I wanted to put that on the top. And then just work my way throughout the tree, adding picks to where there are some holes or gaps and filling those out. I've mentioned before that there's a store in Houston called Craftex, and last year she purchased a lot of these picks from that store. I know that Hobby Lobby, Home Goods, At Home, Amazon, Marshalls, TJ Maxx, there's so many different places where you can look and get some of these specialty picks. Also, because whenever we cascade the ribbon down, we tend to tie it to a branch. So if something doesn't look right, then you can use one of these picks right into where the branch is connected to the ribbon and kind of hide that a little bit.
Holiday, jolly holiday. Let's have a jolly holiday. Holiday. Just wanna have a holiday.
Next, after you have your picks all throughout your tree, spread out evenly the way you like it, then if you have any specialty ornaments, then that's where I would put those next. And like I mentioned, there's going to be no ball ornaments, so it's easy just to pull out and take down. And we have officially completed this tree. I think it turned out super elegant and beautiful, and just following those steps makes it so easy to put up. Now we're moving on to tree number 2. This is the fun kid tree, or for them, it's their grandkid tree. Now, Rye, my 3-month-old, is the first grandson. So before, this was an all-girl tree because they had 4 granddaughters, including my 2 girls. And now I came along and had a boy. So we're adding a couple more ornaments to this, what used to be a pink ballerina tree, to fit him in. Now, leave me a comment below. Let me know, do y'all have a fun kid tree? And if you do, what is the theme? So I've mentioned before, I do lots of organizing and cleaning and trying to do a lot of decluttering. And I recently did a toy declutter to make room for, Christmas and everything. And I asked over on my Instagram, I'm trying to eliminate toys, or, I don't want to break my kids' hearts by not getting them things that they kind of want, but I'm also trying to cut down on a lot of the clutter. So I asked over on my Instagram, what are some great gifts that are not toys or clothes? So I still plan to get my oldest, Sailor, she's 5, some clothes because she's growing out of stuff. But I got some feedback, and a lot of people recommended monthly subscription boxes. So either subscriptions to a magazine or subscriptions for crafty items. I've got a lot of responses about a zoo membership or going to the zoo, going different places, maybe getting them a vacation or a membership to the museums. For stocking stuffers, I got an idea for some of the basic needs like toothpaste, toothbrushes. My girls are really into bath bombs right now. So the bath bombs where there's a little princess or a little something inside where it's a surprise, I guess you can say. So it's been super helpful because it helps them get in the bath. So right now, I know for sure I'm going to be getting them some bath bombs. I'm also did get them a personalized little piggy bank. So whenever that comes in, I'll probably share that on maybe my Instagram story or something. But do you guys have any other good recommendations for toddlers or kids for Christmas? If there's maybe one toy that has been life-changing for y'all or that your kids love, then you can also leave that down below. But yes, any ideas or suggestions to help this community and to help me out would be appreciated. So I'm going to finish up this tree, show it to you guys, and then next work on the mantle. But Christmas is supposed to be the best time of year where you're spending time with family and you're making all of these memories. But I know that for a lot of people, it is the most stressful time of year. Now, Chris and I are both pretty, I would say, extroverted people. But one of the main things that used to stress me out about the holidays wasn't like the presents or the gifts or anything like that or the decorating. It was the holiday gatherings. Like, I have the fear of missing out. So I'd always go to holiday gatherings with family and friends and like new Christmas parties, meeting new people. And that was all fun and exciting, but I would also get really nervous. You don't know who you're going to meet. You don't know what they're going to say. You don't know what family that hasn't seen you in a long time is going to say or think. And then you kind of reflect back on your life, like, oh, what are they going to say about me as a parent? What are they going to think? Is this the right outfit? Am I too dressed up, too dressed down? And like all of these things. But you'll notice like all of these anxieties and thoughts are all about they. One thing that I learned a long time ago that has helped me tremendously, especially in like gatherings, bigger group settings, is to stop taking everything so dang personal. Like every time they, whoever they is, makes a comment or looks a certain way or does anything, we think it's always about us. Well, they looked at me this way, or they made this comment, or they did this and that. And I have learned to stop taking it so personal. I know that it's easier said than done, but one thing that I started thinking, instead of creating negative responses in my head, like, oh, they gave me this certain look that wasn't very nice, is that instead of going, well, it's probably because they just don't like me or they don't like what I'm wearing or whatever, and then it causes like insecurities and stress, I stopped thinking that way. I started thinking, okay, they gave me this weird look. Maybe their pants are on too tight, or maybe they just had a weird thought and they just happened to be looking my way. I started giving like them the benefit of the doubt instead of taking it so personal on me. I was also watching Lisa Bilyeu on Instagram, and she was interviewing Terry Cole, who is a boundary boss and psychotherapist, and she was talking about navigating difficult conversations with people, during the holidays or whenever. And if somebody you feel like is stepping over your boundaries or asking you a difficult question, maybe something you don't want to talk about. She used an example of going through a divorce and someone bringing it up when you don't want to talk about it. You can simply question the questioner by going, why do you need to know that? It sets a boundary that the conversation has gotten too far and that it's something that you don't want to talk about. So make sure that you set your boundaries where you need to with certain people that might be difficult. And again, don't take everything so personal. I promise you it's game changing for dealing with the stresses of people. But back to the decorating, we put together this garland. I put some fairy lights around this garland to light it up, and then I'm using command cords that I have hung on the picture to help hold that garland in place. My mom and I were going back and forth on how to make this the top of the picture festive. She had thought about like putting a bow. We thought about getting like just a pretty spray, but we had this garland already, so we just ended up wrapping that garland around. So this is the original garland that we used on the mantle last year, and since it's a bit longer and more full, we're going to use it on the garland again this year. But I wanted to do something a little bit different. Now, I use ribbon a lot, but I haven't actually used ribbon on a garland yet. So I got a few ideas from Brittany Blaine, and I was watching one of her videos on how to make your garland fabulous. And the way that she had her ribbon in her garland was really pretty. So I watched her video, and she did cut her ribbon and put it into the garland. So I am doing just that. And oh my gosh, guys, it makes it look so beautiful. So I cut about 12-inch strips and then looped them in. Now I think this garland, I showed a picture, was it like 2 inches thick? It looks really, really pretty. And one thing that I noticed is make sure that you're pulling the garland out and creating really nice loops. Don't try and pull it too tight. This took me like 10 minutes to do, and it just gives it an extra beautiful touch to this garland.
It's cold outside, it tingles in my heart. Breathing air that clears my mind, I'm all for a good start. I hear those jingle bells, people singing about love. It feels like I'm a kid, like I'm forever young. And that's why I wanna sing about the Christmas on its way. A reason to hang around and celebrate this day. Everyone's smiling and it's snowing. It's the time of year again. I'm happy you're here.
Next, I'm going to add a couple picks throughout the garland just to make it look nice and full.
I'm walking around making small talk with people that pass me by. I share a laugh, it gives me joy that everyone's having a good time. I hear those jingle bells.
As I'm putting the stocking holders in, I am just using some of the branches from the garland to loop them around. That way they're kind of secured a little bit to the garland and they stay on a little better. So I also saw Brittany Blaine use these remote operated candles and she put them throughout her tree. So I ordered these from Amazon and I thought these would look so cool around the garland on the mantle. So you do have to put individual batteries into each one. This came with a pack of 10 and then you can use the remote to have the light just turn on and off or flicker. They come with this little clip, so I just simply went along the garland and then clipped them on to the branches. They blend with the existing lights, but also are really noticeable and just something super different.
And celebrate this day. Everyone's smiling and it's snowing. It's the time of year again. I'm happy you're here, my winter wonderland. Oh, my winter wonderland. Jingle bells ringing in my ear. Jingle bell, a sound that's oh so dear. Frosty the snowman is all around town. Watch out for reindeers are falling down. We stay up waiting for Santa to...
Next, I'm going to work on this console table. We just have some red mesh underneath, and then we topped it with some of that, what is this stuff? Like cotton stuff, I don't know, the fake snow underneath. And then we have these lights from Costco, which are really beautiful. And then I'm going to add a couple of her final pieces from her Fitz and Floyd collection.
To wish us all a Merry Christmas Day. Oh, a Merry Christmas Day. Oh.
Now these are by far my favorite. They are just the most beautiful pieces. So for these statement pieces, I thought you didn't really need to add a whole lot to it, just some of the extra lighting to make sure they're lit up.
While Santa's busy saying ho, 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 we're feeling jolly, eating Christmas cake. And then we go skating on the frozen lake, saying hi to everyone.
And the last place that I'll be decorating is the dining room table. Now, I would say not great at tablescapes, but I think I've watched enough of Lauren Nicholson's channel to where I think I can try and figure this out. So last year, my sister actually did the tablescape on my mom's table while I focused on the trees. So I'm going to change it up a little bit and then use some of the everything that she already had. So I'm going to try and create something festive. We had one strand of some unused garland, so I figured that I would just start with that as the first layer, kind of fluff it out, put it across the table. It ended up being a perfect length because we do have people that are going to sit on both of the ends of the table, so we didn't want it to hang over. So I'm going to throw this down as the base and then go from there. When I decorated my dining room table, I had added red berry trees to give it height. So I liked the idea of adding some of these trees to her table as well. And then if you have lights, add lights. If you can't tell, I'm obsessed with lights. I just feel like it just brightens up the space and makes everything more vibrant. So we have some battery operated lights that we're adding here. Now I'm just going and adding whatever I can find, picks, ornament balls, and candles throughout the garland to make it look nice and beautiful.
It's white outside and the night is cold. Everyone's lighting candles in their homes. Yes, it's Christmas. It's a magic time. You can feel it in the air, that every child got their hearts filled up with joy. Yes, it's Christmas all around. All snow is falling down, all the colored lights lighting up this town. And as I walk outside,
one last thing to remember throughout the holidays is to be grateful. Jim Quick said, "What if the only things in your life tomorrow are the things that you express gratitude for today? Would you live differently?" If you want to feel truly wealthy, then be grateful for all the things that money cannot buy. As I'm finishing up this video, I am truly grateful for my friends, my family, and every single one of you in this community. If you haven't joined this amazing community, then make sure you click that red subscribe button. And I wish more than anything you have an amazingly wonderful holiday. And also don't forget to check out Carla and her latest video right after this one. But now for the house tour.
Let's go outside, the snow is falling down and every child is having so much fun. The snowman is twice the size as me, with a smile as quirky as mine. We're holding hands to keep each other warm while we stand and watch a choir performing all the Christmas songs that we love. Yeah, all the Christmas songs that we love. And in a while we're gonna go inside and drink our chocolate by the fire. 'Cause all I want is to spend this day with you. Let me give you a Christmas, a moment we'll fill with love and joy. So beautiful, kissing on a mistletoe, baby, with you. I don't need any presents, as long as I spend this day with you. So beautiful, kissing on a mistletoe, baby, with you. Ooh. I'm making plans of what we're gonna do. I feel so blessed that I can be with you. 'Cause God knows that I've been longing for you. I just wanna hold you close. You know the stars are shining just for you. Let's take a walk and we can follow the moonlight till we reach a place we can stay. Maybe kiss a bit and dream away. And in a while we're gonna go inside and drink our chocolate by the fire. 'Cause all I want is to spend this day with you. Let me give you a Christmas, a moment we'll fill with love and joy. So beautiful, kissing on a mistletoe, baby, with you. I don't need any presents, as long as I spend this day with you. So beautiful, kissing on a mistletoe, baby, with you. Ooh, And in a while we're gonna go inside and drink our chocolate by the fire. 'Cause all I want is to spend this day with you. Let me give you a Christmas, a moment we'll fill with love and joy.